When was the last time you felt truly in control of your own mind? Not just calm for a moment, or focused for an hour, but genuinely in command, steady, unshaken. The kind of control that doesn't disappear the second life throws chaos your way. The truth is, most people don't live that way. Most people react. They wake up already behind, already anxious. They let the world set their tone, push their buttons, and tell them what to fear. But deep down, you know you're meant for more than that. You're meant to lead yourself. You're meant to rise above noise, distraction, fear, and become something solid, something unshakable, something virtuous. The world is spinning faster every day. Information, expectations, stress, it never ends. And yet, in the middle of all that noise, there's a different kind of person, someone who doesn't just survive the pressure, but becomes stronger because of it, someone who walks through the fire with clarity, with discipline, with peace. That kind of person is rare. That kind of person is a stoic. And you have what it takes to become one. This isn't about pretending you don't feel anything. It's about learning how to master what you feel, so it no longer controls you. It's about trading temporary emotion for timeless wisdom, weak impulses for strong principles, chaos for calm. And the change doesn't start somewhere out there. It starts inside you, right now. There is a path to becoming that kind of person, clear-minded, deeply grounded, and led by virtue, not emotion. It begins with simple, powerful habits. Habits practiced by the wisest and strongest minds in history. Habits that rewire how you think, how you respond, how you live. These are not trends. They are timeless tools for transformation. They've survived for centuries because they work. You're going to learn 7 of these habits, 7 actions you can take daily that will harden your focus, sharpen your character, and lead you to a kind of inner power most people never even taste. These habits are your armor, your compass, your proof that even in the most uncertain world, you don't have to be lost. You can be calm. You can be strong. You can be unshakably good. Each habit will challenge you, but each one will also give something back. More control, more clarity, more peace. That's the reward. Not some distant goal, but the transformation you feel as you live these principles. Because the more you act with virtue, the more you become who you were meant to be. And that's where real freedom lives. Not in doing whatever you want, but in becoming someone nothing can break. If you've been waiting for life to slow down, it won't. If you've been waiting to feel ready, you won't. But if you're ready to take ownership of your character, to step into something higher, something deeper, then stay with this. Because by the end of this, you won't just understand what it means to live as a stoic. You'll have the tools to become one. Not in theory, but in action. Not someday, but today. You are one decision away from becoming the kind of person the world desperately needs. Someone strong, not for show, but for service. Someone calm, not from comfort, but from courage. Someone virtuous, because nothing else satisfies anymore. Let's begin. If you want to change your life, you must first change how you begin your day. Before the noise, before the world has a chance to pull you in every direction. The most powerful Stoics, ancient or modern, understood one thing with absolute clarity. You don't find peace in the middle of chaos. You carry it in with you, and the only way to do that is to build it before the day begins. The morning is not just a time, it is a choice, a chance to declare who you are before anything else can define it for you. Most people wake up and immediately hand their mind over to the world. Notifications, emails, scrolling, urgency. But every time you do that, you abandon your own power. You forget your values. You forget your purpose. You start your day on defense and you stay there, but not you, not anymore. The Stoic begins the day with intention, not reaction. Before the sun rises, you carve space to be with yourself, to remember what truly matters, to anchor to what doesn't move. The science backs it. Those first few moments after waking, your brain is most impressionable. It's open, unguarded, listening. What you feed it in that window shapes your entire emotional and mental rhythm. You either train your mind, or the world trains it for you. So wake up on your terms, not because you have to, but because you're choosing to lead yourself. Sit in silence, breathe, let the stillness sharpen your focus. Pick up a journal and write. Not what you have to do, but who you want to be. What virtue you will embody today. Will it be courage, patience, honesty, discipline? Choose one and live it. Ask yourself, if I lived today like a Stoic, what would that look like? How would I respond to difficulty? What would I refuse to complain about? Where would I show up with honor, no matter who's watching? This is not about being perfect. It's about being deliberate, about setting a standard for your life that doesn't change with mood or pressure or circumstance. When you build this habit, you stop chasing motivation. You stop waiting to feel ready. You become ready because you train it every single morning. You are not the same as those who drift through their mornings in chaos and confusion. You are building something deeper, something stronger. You are setting a tone, a rhythm, a command presence that follows you through every meeting, every challenge, every decision. This quiet morning ritual is your secret weapon. It is not loud, it is not glamorous, but it is powerful. It is how you begin to separate from the average. It is how you remind yourself before anything else why you're here, what you stand for, and what you will no longer tolerate from yourself. You don't need a perfect routine. You need a consistent one that reconnects you with your higher self before the world tries to make you forget. A few minutes of solitude, a page of reflection, a single vow to live with virtue and to meet whatever comes, not with panic, but with presence. Start your morning as a Stoic, and you'll carry that strength with you long after the moment has passed. The storms may still come, but you won't be moved, because you didn't leave your peace to chance. You built it with your own hands. Most people spend their lives running from discomfort, avoiding pain, dodging anything that feels difficult. But every time you avoid what's hard, you trade your power for safety. You shrink your world. You teach your mind that comfort is the goal and suffering is the enemy. But the Stoics saw it differently. They didn't run from discomfort. They walked straight into it. Not because they loved pain, but because they knew the truth: you cannot grow without resistance. Voluntary discomfort is a sacred training ground. It's where the weak voice in your head meets the stronger one, the one that refuses to quit. When you choose discomfort, you take back control. You prove to yourself, day after day, that your feelings don't decide your actions. Your values do. This is how discipline is built, not in moments of ease, but in deliberate struggle. Taking a cold shower when your body craves warmth. Fasting when your mind screams for a snack. Turning your phone off when your hand reaches for escape. These are not punishments, they are proofs. Each one says, I am not ruled by impulse. I am not afraid to be uncomfortable. I am not here to live soft. Modern psychology confirms what the Stoics already knew. Resilience is trained, not born. When you voluntarily expose yourself to challenges, your brain adapts. It gets stronger. You stop flinching at adversity. You stop fearing the unknown. You learn to sit in discomfort without panic, without excuses, without breaking. Because the truth is, life will bring pain. You can't escape that. But if you've never chosen hardship when you didn't have to, how will you stand when you don't have a choice? If you always need comfort, you'll always be a slave to your environment. But if you train yourself to be comfortable in the uncomfortable, nothing can own you. Not fear, not pain, not chaos. This is not about intensity. It's about consistency. One small discomfort a day, one honest moment of resistance. Start where you are. Push back against the easy path, even slightly, and your strength will start to rise. You'll see it in how you respond to stress, in how you speak when you're tired, in how you show up when things don't go your way. You'll stop reacting like a victim. You'll start responding like a leader. This is what the world needs. Not more comfort seekers, but strong minds, steady hearts, people who can carry weight without needing applause, people who train quietly live intentionally, and hold the line when everything else falls apart. You become that person not by accident, but by design, through discomfort chosen, not forced, through doing what is right, not what is easy, through choosing one hard thing every day, not to prove something to the world, but to prove something to yourself. The next time your mind whispers, "I don't want to," listen carefully, because that's exactly where your power is. That's the moment, right there, when everything in you wants to quit, to retreat, to delay, and you don't. You stay in it. You stay present, stay strong. And in that moment, you are no longer training like a stoic. You are becoming one. You've been told your whole life to chase outcomes, grades, titles, followers, money, validation. You've been taught that results are everything, and that if you don't have them, you're not enough. But that's a lie, a deep, corrosive lie. Because what you can't control will always control you if you let it. And the truth is this: you do not control results. You never have. You control your effort, your attitude, your choices. That's it. And that's enough. This is the power the Stoics lived by. Radical ownership of the things within their reach, and total surrender of everything outside it. Not passive, not detached, just clear. They didn't waste energy obsessing over what might happen. They focused fully on how they showed up, how they lived, what they gave, and then they let go. That is freedom. That is peace. Not the kind that comes from things going your way, but from no longer needing them to. Let this truth settle into you. You are not responsible for the outcome. You are responsible for showing up with everything you've got, and then releasing your grip on the rest. It's not easy, but it's necessary. Because the longer you cling to results, the more anxious you become. You measure your worth by things outside your control, and that's a battle you will never win. Psychologists call it locus of control. When your sense of power depends on things outside yourself, you feel helpless, defeated. But when you anchor to your own effort, your own integrity, your own behavior, you get stronger. You feel capable, focused, and free. Because you've stopped playing a game rigged against you. Stop asking, "Did I win?" and start asking, "Did I give everything I had with character?" If the answer is yes, you've already succeeded, even if no one sees it, even if the results don't show up today, even if the world tells you otherwise. Let go of needing to be liked. Let go of needing the perfect outcome. Let go of the fear that you're falling behind. You are not behind. You are in training. You are becoming something most people will never even attempt to become: sovereign over yourself. What matters is not what happens, but how you respond. Did you act with courage? Did you speak with honesty? Did you work with discipline, with focus, with respect for your craft? If you did, you win, no matter what the scoreboard says. The Stoics knew that everything external is temporary: health, wealth, reputation, success. None of it lasts. None of it defines you. What defines you is who you are when none of it is guaranteed. Who you are when nothing goes right. That's where character is forged. That's where virtue is tested. So show up fully, every day. Give your best, not because the outcome is promised, but because the process is sacred. Build your identity not on results, but on values, and trust that who you become through that process is far more valuable than anything you're chasing. There is strength in surrender, not giving up, letting go, giving everything you have to what you can control, and releasing the rest with grace. This is how you become unshakable, not by controlling life, but by mastering yourself. Outcomes will come and go. But who you are, that's forever. Build that, live that, be that. You can't live with virtue if you're not honest with yourself, and most people aren't. They lie quietly, constantly, telling themselves stories that justify their weakness, their delay, their compromise. They say they're trying when they're not. They say they care when they don't act like it. They say they're confused, when the truth is they're afraid. But if you want to live like a Stoic, if you want to live free, you have to cut through the noise. You have to face the truth, no matter how uncomfortable it is. Self-honesty is not cruelty, it's clarity. It's the moment you stop negotiating with mediocrity. It's looking in the mirror and seeing things as they are, not better, not worse, just real. Because until you do that, nothing will change. You can't fix what you won't face. You can't lead yourself if you're hiding from who you've become. This is where transformation begins, not with motivation, but with accountability. Quiet, unshakable responsibility for your own thoughts, your own choices, your own results. Not blaming the past, not blaming others, just owning everything. Not because it's your fault, but because it's your future. When you live this way, something changes in you. You stop waiting to be saved. You stop hoping things will just work out. You start showing up with intention, with intensity, with integrity. You stop pretending, and you start building. Psychologically, this is where growth truly begins. Not in comfort, but in cognitive dissonance. The moment you realize your actions don't yet match your ideals, that tension, that discomfort, that internal pressure, it's not a problem. It's the catalyst, the spark, if you use it, if you tell the truth. But honesty without action is self-pity, and action without honesty is delusion. You need both. The courage to look inward and the discipline to move forward, to admit what needs to change and then start changing it. Not all at once, but relentlessly. The Stoics weren't perfect. They were flawed, like all of us. But they didn't run from their flaws. They studied them. They faced them head on. Because they understood, the greatest enemy is not outside you. It's the part of you that wants comfort over character, ease over excellence, excuses over evolution. That part of you must be confronted. Not with shame, but with strength. Because you are not your past. You are not your worst day. You are not the story you keep repeating. You are the one writing the next chapter, right now, with every choice, every habit, every honest look in the mirror. Ask yourself, what am I avoiding? What truth have I been too afraid to say out loud? What standard have I lowered just to feel safe? And what would my life look like if I stopped hiding, stopped blaming, stopped waiting, and started living with the full force of my integrity? You are capable of more than you've allowed yourself to become. But that future version of you isn't waiting somewhere out there. It's built through the decisions you make when no one's watching, through the conversations you have with yourself when it's uncomfortable, through the discipline to choose truth over feeling, purpose over pleasure. This is the work, quiet, daily, ruthless in its honesty, but freeing in its reward. Because when you stop lying to yourself, you start trusting yourself. And when you trust yourself, you become unstoppable. Let the world be loud. Let others chase distractions. You stay grounded. Stay honest. Stay aligned. The path to virtue begins with truth, and truth begins with you. There is no virtue without discipline, no peace without structure, no strength without boundaries. If you want to live with power, you must first live with order. Chaos in your environment reflects chaos in your mind, and the Stoic trains to remove chaos not by force but by design. Not through control of others, but through mastery of self. Most people live scattered, pulled in every direction. Their thoughts are unfocused, their routines inconsistent, their priorities unclear. They wonder why they feel anxious, tired, behind. But they never stop to look at the systems they've built, or more often, the lack of them. The truth is, you don't rise to the level of your ambition. You fall to the strength of your systems. And if those systems are weak, so is your follow-through. Discipline is not restriction, it is liberation. When your life is ordered around your highest values, you don't feel trapped, you feel free. Because your energy is no longer wasted on constant decision-making, procrastination, or regret. You don't have to talk yourself into what's right. You've already made the decision in advance. The Stoic doesn't wait for motivation. They don't depend on mood. They commit. And then they follow through. That commitment builds identity. The more you do what you said you would do, the more you trust yourself. The more you keep your word, the more powerful that word becomes. And in a world where most people break promises to themselves every day, your consistency becomes a weapon. Science calls this identity-based habit formation. The more your actions align with who you want to become, the faster that identity solidifies. So when you wake up early, when you eat with intention, when you train your body, when you speak with purpose, you're not just checking boxes, you're casting votes for the person you've decided to be. But make no mistake, this path is hard. It is narrow. It demands sacrifice. You will have to give up comfort. You will have to choose discipline when every part of you wants to drift. But the pain of discipline is nothing compared to the pain of regret. And if you don't choose your habits will choose for you. Every day, you are training something. You're either training yourself to show up or to avoid, to follow through or to make excuses, to move forward or to stay stuck. There is no neutral. Your future is being shaped whether you realize it or not. And the question is, will it be shaped by design or by default? The Stoic chooses design. They live by routine, not because life is boring, but because life is sacred. They build structure, not because they fear failure, but because they seek mastery. They don't waste time arguing with themselves about what matters. They already know, and their schedule reflects it. Audit your life. Look at your calendar, your habits, your rituals. Do they reflect your values or your distractions? Are you being led by your highest self or pulled by your weakest voice? You don't have to be perfect, but you do have to be intentional. One routine at a time, one boundary at a time, one system at a time. Every act of order is a step toward freedom. Every act of discipline is a vote for strength. Every time you choose structure over chaos, you step further into the life you were built to live. You don't need to control the world. You just need to control your choices. That's where virtue begins. That's where transformation lives. And that's where you'll find the kind of peace no one can take from you. The greatest power a human being can hold is the ability to choose their response no matter what happens. Most people are prisoners to their emotions. Controlled by anger, pulled by fear, crippled by anxiety. They let their mood dictate their behavior. Their triggers run their lives. But the Stoic breaks that chain. The Stoic understands. Emotion is not the enemy, but it is not the master either. You feel it. You honor it. You don't obey it. You respond with reason, not reaction. This is the difference between the driven and the distracted, between the grounded and the fragile. It's not that the Stoic doesn't feel, it's that they've trained themselves to step back, to pause, to see clearly before they act. That moment between stimulus and response, that tiny space of silence, is where your entire life is shaped. You can either let your instincts take over, or you can step into awareness. You can either react like a child or respond like a leader. Modern neuroscience proves it. When you take even a few seconds to regulate your emotional state, you shift activity from the limbic brain, where fear and rage live, to the prefrontal cortex, where logic and long-term thinking reside. That space gives you your life back. It gives you your power back. You don't need to eliminate emotion to live with virtue. You need to rise above it. Let it come. Let it move through you. But don't let it decide your path. Discipline your inner world so that the outer world can't control you. The Stoic remains unmoved, not because they are numb, but because they are aligned, anchored in values, grounded in truth. When someone offends them, they don't take the bait. When something falls apart, they don't collapse. When fear whispers, they don't listen. They hear it, but they keep moving anyway. That's courage. Not the absence of fear, but the refusal to let fear choose for you. And that's strength. Not the absence of anger, but the refusal to be consumed by it. You don't rise by being more emotional than others. You rise by becoming more aware of your emotions than others. And in that awareness, you earn the ability to guide them, rather than be guided by them. How many decisions in your life were made from a place of fear? How many words have you said that you wish you could take back, because they came from anger, not clarity? And how much of your peace have you given away just because you let a moment of emotion hijack a lifetime of effort? You are not your feelings. You are not your triggers. You are not your thoughts. You are the one watching all of it. And that part of you, the watcher, the observer, the rational soul, that's where your power lives.
Strengthen it. Give it the space it needs to speak before you act.
Breathe before you answer. Think before you judge. Listen before you resist. That is how the Stoic lives, not passively, but intentionally. Fully present, fully engaged, fully in control of the only thing that matters, themselves. You want to lead? Then master your emotions. You want peace? Then stop letting your reactions write your story. Step into the calm, the clarity, the stillness beneath the storm. That's where the Stoic stands. That's where your strength begins. And once you find that place, nothing can move you. Nothing can break you. Nothing can own you again. A life of virtue means nothing if it's lived only in theory. Philosophy is not meant to decorate your mind. It's meant to direct your actions. You cannot call yourself disciplined and then break your word. You cannot call yourself courageous and run when things get hard. You cannot call yourself wise and keep repeating the same self-destructive patterns. The Stoic doesn't just believe, they behave. They act. They embody the values they claim to live by. Not when it's convenient, but always. That's the true test of character. Not how you speak when you're inspired, but how you live when no one is watching. When it would be easier to compromise, when shortcuts whisper, when silence is safer than truth, that's when your habits reveal who you really are. And if you want to walk the Stoic path, you must commit to living in alignment. Alignment between thought and action, between principle and behavior, between the man or woman you say you are and the one who actually shows up. Because the world doesn't need more opinions. It needs more examples. Quiet leaders, humble warriors, people who don't just post quotes but live them, who choose integrity over approval, who stand for something deeper than success. The Stoic lives with virtue not for attention, but because they couldn't live any other way. Their soul wouldn't allow it. And that kind of life, it doesn't happen by accident. It's built choice by choice, moment by moment. You build it every time you hold the standard, even when it's hard. Every time you keep your word, even when it hurts. Every time you do what's right, even when it's thankless. Especially then. Psychologists call this value congruence, when your daily behavior matches your deepest beliefs. And research shows it leads to higher well-being, stronger identity, and more lasting fulfillment. Not happiness based on pleasure, but peace based on integrity. That's what you're chasing, not a feeling, but a foundation. Ask yourself, do my actions reflect my values? If someone followed me for a week, without hearing a word I said, would they see who I claim to be? Or would they see someone drifting, divided, unsure? Because you can't fake virtue. Not forever. Sooner or later the cracks will show. So you must choose every single day to close the gap. Between your highest self and your current self. Between the easy path and the right one. Don't wait for a perfect moment. Don't wait until it's popular, or easy, or guaranteed. Choose now. Align now. Live now. Because every moment you delay, you deepen the divide between who you are and who you were born to be. You don't need more knowledge. You need more courage. You already know what's right. The question is, will you live it? Let your life speak louder than your words. Let your habits speak louder than your goals. Let your example be the proof. You don't need applause. You don't need permission. You just need consistency, discipline, and the deep, unwavering commitment to live every day as if virtue were your only compass. This is the Stoic path. Quiet, steady, true. And if you choose it, not just in theory but in action, you'll feel it. The shift, the strength, the alignment. You'll stop performing and start becoming. You'll stop pretending and start leading. Not from ego, but from example. Live it, every word, every value, every step. Let your actions earn the identity your soul has always craved, not to impress the world, but to honor who you really are. The final measure of a Stoic life is not how much you've achieved, but how much peace you've created within yourself. Not how loud your voice is, but how still your mind can remain when the world begins to shake. You can have discipline, self-honesty, clarity, control. But without stillness, without that quiet center, you'll always feel like something's missing. You'll keep grinding, chasing, improving, and still feel restless. Because true strength isn't proven through effort alone. It's revealed through presence. Stillness is not the absence of motion, it's the presence of depth. It's the ability to be fully here, calm in the face of chaos, grounded when everything feels uncertain, untangled from the noise of the world. Most people never touch that place because they're addicted to movement, constant scrolling, constant planning, constant running from their own thoughts. But you cannot outrun your mind. At some point you must face it. That moment, when you turn inward instead of outward, is when transformation truly begins. The Stoics sought stillness not to escape life, but to engage it more deeply. They trained their minds like warriors. They learned to sit in silence, to observe their thoughts, to detach from false urgency, to breathe when the moment tried to rush them. Stillness was their power, not their weakness, because in that silence they could finally see what was real and what was just noise. You are not your to-do list. You are not your pace. You are not defined by how productive you can be in a single day. You are defined by the quality of your presence, how clearly you can see, how deeply you can listen, how fully you can choose your next step, not out of panic, but out of peace. Your mind will resist this. It will tell you that stillness is a waste of time, that there's always something else you should be doing. But that's just distraction dressed as urgency. The truth is, a quiet mind is a clear weapon. A still soul is a strategic advantage. Because in that stillness, you make better decisions. You see further. You respond with precision, not panic. And science proves it. Studies show that mindfulness practices, moments of deliberate stillness, lower stress, reduce reactivity, improve focus, and even rewire the brain to become more emotionally resilient. But the Stoics didn't need studies. They felt it. They lived it. They knew that to be ruled by noise was to be ruled by weakness, and to find stillness even for a few minutes a day was to reclaim their soul. So take it. Take your time back. Take your mind back. Take your spirit back from the rush, the noise, the comparison, the doubt. Carve out moments where you just sit, breathe, reflect, be. Not for productivity, but for presence. Not to get ahead, but to come back to yourself. This is not about isolation. It's about connection to your values, to your breath, to the truth beneath your thoughts. When the world tells you to run faster, walk slower. When your emotions pull you in 10 directions, return to the center. When you feel scattered, come back to the quiet space within you that nothing can touch. Stillness is not something you find. It's something you create. And the more you practice it, the more you carry it with you. Into conversations, into decisions, into storms. You become the calm within the chaos. Not because life is easy, but because you've chosen to build peace within. That is the final habit of the Stoic, the quiet power, the invisible edge, not louder but deeper, not faster but truer, not harder but wiser. And from that place everything else becomes clear. You know who you are, you know how to live, and nothing the world does can shake what's been built within you. Certainly. Here's a detailed outline for a faceless YouTube motivational video script titled, Life Lessons I Learned Too Late That I Still Regret All These Years Later, Regre. The weight of regret, why time is the hardest teacher, Regre. Begin with a raw emotional question that hooks the viewer. Have you ever felt like time slipped through your fingers and all you're left with is regret? Build deep emotional context around the universal pain of hindsight and missed chances. Tap into psychological triggers like loss aversion and fear of wasted potential. Highlight how regret weighs heavier than failure because it's tied to what could have been. Set up a promise that these lessons will inspire urgent action to transform the present before it's too late. 2. The illusion of time. Why we think we have forever. Ibra exposed the common cognitive bias that makes us believe time is endless. Discuss research on temporal discounting, how people undervalue the future and overvalue the present moment. Push viewers to confront their own blind spots about procrastination and postponement. Build emotional momentum by showing how this illusion steals precious moments, relationships, and opportunities. Leave them hungry for a new mindset that seizes now. 3. The power of saying no. Protecting your time like your life depends on it. Explain why people struggle to set boundaries. How constantly saying yes steals focus and energy. Use psychological principles like decision fatigue and the scarcity mindset to deepen understanding. Help viewers emotionally connect to their exhaustion, overwhelm, and feeling pulled in too many directions. Inspire a strong vision of reclaiming control through the courage to say no and prioritize what truly matters. 4. The trap of people-pleasing. Losing yourself to others' expectations. Delve into the emotional cost of living for others' approval. Highlight the research on social conformity and the brain's craving for acceptance. Address common fears, fear of rejection, judgment, loneliness, that keep people stuck. Build intense emotional connection by inviting viewers to recognize their own compromises and regrets born from this trap. Motivate transformation by emphasizing the freedom and power of authentic living. 5. The myth of perfection. How waiting for ready kills dreams. Theobrari focus on the paralysis caused by perfectionism and fear of failure. Use behavioral psychology insights about procrastination and the growth mindset. Evoke the pain of lost time and missed chances because of waiting for the perfect moment or self to arrive. Stir deep motivation by inviting viewers to embrace imperfection and action as the only true paths forward. 6. The importance of self-compassion. Being your own ally in failure and growth. Reveal the harsh self-judgment that blocks growth and prolongs suffering. Present evidence on how self-compassion improves resilience and mental health. Connect emotionally by acknowledging the universal struggle with shame and regret, and the toxic inner critic. Lead viewers toward a healing mindset that sees failure as feedback and themselves as worthy of kindness and second chances. 7. The value of presence. Why being here now is life's greatest gift. Regre highlight how distraction and multitasking steal joy and connection. Use research on mindfulness and attention economics to explain how presence improves well-being and relationships. Tap into the yearning for meaning and deeper connection with life. Inspire viewers to reclaim their awareness, slow down, and fully experience the present moment before it slips away. Taking ownership. How responsibility fuels freedom and transformation. Close with the empowering lesson that no matter what's happened, choice always remains. Use psychology around locus of control and personal agency to motivate viewers to stop blaming and start acting. Build powerful emotional intensity around the freedom that comes from owning one's story, learning from the past, and creating a new future. End with a call to action. Commit now to live without regret. This outline is crafted to maintain equal emotional depth and word count per section, with a natural motivational flow that builds from vulnerability to empowerment. Each section uses research-backed psychological triggers and appeals directly to the viewer's inner experience to inspire genuine transformation. Have you ever found yourself staring back at the years gone by, wondering where the time disappeared? Have you felt the sharp sting of regret, those heavy moments when you realize that some lessons only come after the damage is done? Regret is a weight no one wants to carry, yet almost all of us do. It's not just about mistakes made or chances missed. It's about the feeling that time slipped through your fingers like sand, leaving you with the haunting question, what if I had known sooner? The truth is, regret is one of the most painful emotions because it ties directly to what we lost, the The moments we can never get back, the words we didn't say, the courage we failed to summon. It's not failure that breaks us, but the knowledge that we stood still while life kept moving. But here's something powerful: regret, while painful, is also a teacher. It wakes you up. It forces you to confront the parts of your life that have been neglected. It pulls you into a moment of clarity where you can choose something different. This is why what you're about to hear matters so deeply. These lessons, hard-earned and lived too late, aren't just stories of failure. They're warnings. They're guides lighting a path out of regret and into transformation. And if you listen closely, you can rewrite your story before it's too late. Imagine what it would be like to carry those years not with regret, but with gratitude. To look back and know you lived with intention. To wake up each day aligned with your values and priorities. That kind of peace isn't just a dream, it's a choice waiting for you now. The weight of regret doesn't have to become your burden. You can let it become your fuel instead. Fuel to act, to change, to own your life fiercely. Staying with this truth, this raw, uncomfortable, urgent truth, will change how you see your past and how you approach your future. Because the most important moment isn't yesterday. It isn't tomorrow. It's right now. This moment holds the power to break the cycle, to break the silence of too late, to make these lessons the turning point, not the tombstone, of your potential. If you've ever wished for a second chance, this is it. If you've ever felt stuck under the weight of your own mistakes, this is your way forward. Don't let these words pass by as just another list of what went wrong. Let them sink deep. Let them shake you awake. Because the time to change your life isn't when you're ready. It's now, before more years slip away. You owe it to yourself to learn these lessons today, so you never have to regret missing them again. Keep listening, because each lesson is a key to unlock freedom from regret and open the door to a life lived fully. This is more than motivation. It's a call to action, and it starts with facing the hardest truth. Regret is real, but it doesn't have to define you. It can guide you. It can transform you. And if you choose to hear these lessons, you can become the person you always hoped you'd be. Why do we so often believe that time is an endless gift? Why do we live as if tomorrow will always be waiting, like a safety net beneath our dreams and decisions? This belief, that we have forever to chase what matters, has stolen more lives than failure ever could. It's a trick the mind plays, convincing us that the future is vast, that the now is flexible, that the risks can be postponed. But the truth is that time is fragile. It slips away silently, relentlessly, and it doesn't ask for permission. Our brains are wired to favor the immediate over the distant. Psychologists call this temporal discounting. We place greater value on what feels urgent or tangible and devalue what feels far off or abstract. It's why it's easier to binge watch one more episode than to start that project we've dreamed about for years. It's why we delay tough conversations, skip workouts, and put off the changes that could reshape our lives. We think there will always be more time. We think the future will be easier, safer, or clearer. But this illusion steals more than moments. It steals the very chance to live fully. Imagine the years lost because you believed later was the same as soon. Imagine the relationships that faded, the skills never learned, the risks never taken, all because the clock's ticking felt distant, not urgent. That weight of loss is heavy. It grows silently inside us, turning hope into regret. But here's the harshest truth. No one escapes it. Everyone underestimates time. Everyone gets caught in the same web of procrastination and postponement. The difference is whether you recognize it and break free before the cost becomes unbearable. Breaking free begins with awareness. When you see clearly that time is limited, it shifts everything. You start to fight for your minutes, protect your hours, guard your days. You begin to see each moment as precious, a small treasure you can either waste or invest wisely. This awareness brings urgency, but not panic. It brings focus, a clarity about what truly matters, and what is just noise and distraction. This shift is where transformation begins. It's the mental reset that turns "I'll do it someday" into "I'm doing it now." It's the courage to stop waiting for the perfect conditions or the right feelings, because the perfect moment rarely comes. Waiting for it is a silent sentence to a life half-lived. Time moves on regardless of your readiness, but when you choose to act now, to seize the day, you rewrite your story. There's a powerful reward in this truth: freedom. Freedom from the chains of delay, from the prison of hesitation, from the shadow of regret. When you start living as if time matters, because it does, you tap into a force more powerful than fear or doubt. You tap into your own agency, your ability to shape the future, your power to create meaning today. This isn't just motivation, it's survival. It's the only way to build a life without the crushing weight of "if only." Every moment you reclaim now is a moment that can never be taken away. Every decision to move forward, to say yes to yourself, chips away at the walls of regret before they can close in. So don't let the illusion of endless time steal your life. Don't let later become a trap. See time for what it really is, the most valuable currency you have. Spend it wisely, invest it boldly, protect it fiercely, because when you do, you don't just avoid regret. You create a life that matters, a life that honors the precious gift of now. Hold on to this truth tightly. Let it fuel your courage to step forward, to stop waiting, to finally live. The clock is ticking, and your future self is counting on the choices you make today. Make them count. Make them real. Make them now. Every moment you say yes to others when your heart whispers no, you lose a piece of yourself. It's subtle at first. The polite agreement, the desire to avoid conflict, the fear of disappointing those around you. But over time, this habit builds a life that feels crowded, draining, and out of control. You become a prisoner to the expectations of others, losing sight of what truly fuels your spirit. This surrender of your own boundaries doesn't just steal time, it steals your energy, your focus, and your freedom. Our brains weren't designed to carry endless demands. Decision fatigue sets in, making every choice harder, every day heavier. Saying yes constantly scatters your attention and weakens your will. Psychologists tell us that each decision we make drains a bit of our mental strength, and when that strength runs low, we lose sight of what matters most. When your yes becomes automatic, it's not kindness, it's depletion. It's a slow erosion of your power to choose your own path. But here's the real cost. When you don't protect your time and energy, you lose the ability to pursue your deepest goals. You become stuck in a cycle of exhaustion and distraction, unable to focus on what could transform your life. The people-pleasing trap feels safe because it keeps peace on the surface, but underneath, it builds frustration, resentment, and a gnawing sense that you're living someone else's life. Imagine for a moment what it would be like to reclaim your yes, to say it only to what lights you up, to what moves you closer to your dreams, to what respects your worth and your limits. Picture how it would feel to hold space for yourself without guilt. The freedom that comes with that choice is profound. It's a rebirth of your will, your energy, your purpose. Learning to say no is not just a skill, it's an act of courage. It's a declaration that your time and attention matter. When you say no, you're not shutting people out. You're opening a door for yourself. You're choosing the quality of your life over the endless demands that drain your soul. The fear that saying no will push others away is real, but it pales in comparison to the pain of losing yourself. Authentic connections grow from honesty, not from endless compliance. Science backs this up. Setting boundaries reduces stress and increases emotional resilience. It improves focus and fosters respect from others. When you protect your yes, you build a foundation strong enough to support your dreams and values. This lesson is a turning point. It asks you to look inside and identify where you've given away your power in the name of keeping peace or gaining approval. It invites you to practice saying no, not just to others, but to the parts of yourself that have accepted exhaustion and overwhelm as normal. This isn't about selfishness, it's about survival. It's about reclaiming your energy so you can build a life worth living. It's about choosing what deserves your yes so fiercely that every no becomes a brick in the wall protecting your future. Start small. Practice the simple no. Feel the resistance, the discomfort. Let it teach you where your limits have been ignored. And then watch how, with each no, your life begins to align more with what you truly want. The habit of saying no builds strength, mental, emotional, and spiritual strength. It frees you from distraction and exhaustion. It sharpens your focus and fuels your courage. It creates space for your dreams to breathe and grow. Choose to protect your time like the most valuable treasure it is. Saying no to the noise, to the endless requests, to the default yes that steals your soul. Say yes only to what moves you forward, what aligns with your values, what honors your life. When you do this, regret loses its grip. You stop living on autopilot and start living on purpose. Your yes becomes your power, and your life becomes your own. There's a powerful truth many of us overlook. Growth is uncomfortable. It's not the smooth, easy path we wish for. It's the jagged climb that demands we face our fears, our weaknesses, and the parts of ourselves we'd rather ignore. We live in a culture that glorifies instant success, smooth wins, and effortless talent. But the real transformation, the kind that reshapes your life and frees you from regret, is forged in discomfort. It's forged in the moments you push through when every fiber of your being wants to turn back. This discomfort triggers resistance, mental, emotional, and sometimes physical. It's why so many dreams die quietly in the shadow of fear and doubt. The mind seeks comfort, security, and certainty. When you challenge that by stepping outside your comfort zone, the brain screams for safety, that voice inside you telling you to stay small, to avoid risk, to settle for less. Listen to it for a moment. Then choose to move forward anyway, because on the other side of discomfort lies the growth you crave. Psychologists call this the growth zone. It's the space just beyond your comfort where change happens. This zone is not a place of chaos or collapse, but of challenge and opportunity. It's where your skills sharpen, your confidence builds, and your character strengthens. Yet so few choose to stay there long enough to reap the rewards. Ask yourself, how many times have you held back because the path seemed too hard? How often have you told yourself, "I'll start tomorrow," or "I'm not ready yet"? These are the whispers of fear disguised as reason. The truth is, readiness is a myth. You grow by doing, by trying, by failing, by feeling vulnerable and showing up anyway. Growth demands courage, the courage to fail, to feel exposed, to face rejection. It demands resilience, the ability to get back up and keep going when your mind screams to quit. And it demands patience, because transformation is not instant. It's a process that unfolds slowly, sometimes painfully, but always powerfully. When you embrace discomfort as a signpost rather than a stop sign, your life shifts. You stop fearing pain and start respecting it as part of progress. You learn to welcome challenges as teachers, not punishers. This mindset is what separates those who live with regret from those who live with purpose. The reward for enduring discomfort is not just success, it's a deeper sense of self. It's knowing you faced your limits and pushed past them. It's a profound inner strength that no external achievement can replace. This strength changes how you see yourself and the world around you. You stop shrinking to fit others' expectations. You stop hiding behind excuses. You become the person who takes ownership of their life, no matter the obstacles. Science supports this. Neuroscience shows that facing challenges and practicing resilience rewires your brain, making you stronger and more adaptable. The more you expose yourself to discomfort with intention, the more your brain builds new pathways for courage and creativity. You become harder to shake, more capable of handling whatever life throws your way. This is the path from regret to redemption. It's a daily choice to lean into the discomfort, to reject the easy road, and to commit to your own growth. It's messy, it's hard, and it's the only way to break free from the cycle of wishing things were different. So when discomfort knocks at your door, don't run, welcome it, sit with it. Let it remind you that you're alive, that you're stretching, and that you're on the edge of something greater. This discomfort is your compass, pointing you toward the life you were meant to live. Choose growth. Choose courage. Choose to face the hard truths and rise anyway. Because this is where transformation begins and where regret ends. Too often, we forget that the story we tell ourselves shapes the life we live. The voice inside your head, the one replaying doubts, fears, and limiting beliefs, is the most powerful force in your world. It can build you up or tear you down, lift you toward greatness, or chain you to a life half-lived. The narratives you believe about who you are, what you deserve, and what's possible become the blueprint for your actions and your future. Imagine how different your life would be if you could rewrite that story. If instead of letting fear script your decisions, you stepped in as the author. You held the pen with intention, courage, and clarity. You replaced "I can't" with "I will try." You swapped "I'm not good enough" for "I'm learning every day." You transformed "It's too late for me" into "Today is my fresh start." Regre. This is not just positive thinking, it's neuroscience in action. Studies show that the brain is remarkably adaptable. It changes and grows through what's called neuroplasticity. When you choose to challenge old, limiting beliefs and replace them with empowering ones, you literally rewire your brain. You create new patterns of thought that support confidence, resilience, and growth. But change begins with awareness. You must first notice the stories you've been telling yourself, the ones that hold you back, keep you stuck, or make you settle. These stories often come disguised as facts, but they are just interpretations, not truth. Recognizing this distinction gives you the power to question them, to challenge them, and ultimately to rewrite them. This process requires honesty and courage. It demands that you confront uncomfortable truths about your fears and insecurities. It asks you to sit with the pain of past mistakes without letting them define you. It invites you to release the weight of shame, guilt, and regret that keeps your heart heavy. When you do this work, you create space for new beliefs, ones rooted in possibility, worth, and hope. You begin to see yourself as capable, worthy, and deserving of success and happiness. This shift changes everything. It alters how you speak to yourself, how you show up in the world, and how you respond to challenges. The stories you tell yourself become your self-fulfilling prophecy. If you believe you are weak, you will act weak. If you believe you are resilient, you will find strength in adversity. If you believe you are destined to fail, failure will shadow you at every turn. But if you believe in your power to change, to grow, and to overcome, you will forge a path that reflects that belief. This is the secret weapon against regret. When you own your narrative, you reclaim your power. You stop waiting for validation or permission from the outside world because you have rooted your worth within yourself. You learn to forgive your past and use it as fuel rather than a burden. Rewriting your story is a continuous process. It requires daily attention, practice, and patience. But each time you challenge a negative thought, each time you speak a word of encouragement to yourself, you strengthen new neural pathways. You build momentum toward a mindset that propels you forward rather than holding you back. This is your invitation to take control of your inner dialogue, to become the master of your own mind, to create a story that lifts you higher, inspires your actions, and shapes a future filled with purpose and possibility. Your mind is not your enemy. It is the most powerful ally you will ever have, if you train it well. So start today. Notice your thoughts. Challenge the old narratives. Write new ones with intention and compassion, because the story you believe is the life you will live. Choose to believe in a story that sets you free. There is a quiet power in how you manage your emotions. The way you respond to pain, frustration, and fear defines the course of your life far more than the events themselves. Too often, we let emotions control us like wild horses, steering us into patterns of anger, despair, or anxiety that cloud our judgment and weigh us down. But what if you could take the reins? What if you could learn to navigate your feelings with calm and clarity instead of being tossed by every storm? This is not about suppressing your emotions or pretending everything is fine. It's about mastering the inner landscape so that your reactions serve you, not sabotage you. Emotional mastery is a skill, one that shapes your resilience, your relationships, and your ability to pursue what matters deeply. The brain science behind this is clear. When you practice awareness of your emotions without immediate reaction, you create a pause, a space where choice emerges. This pause allows your rational mind to step in, to assess, and to decide the best course of action. Without it, impulsivity rules and regrets multiply. Think of this pause as a powerful tool to reclaim your life. When you feel anger rising, instead of exploding or retreating, you recognize it, understand it, and choose how to respond. When anxiety floods your mind, instead of spiraling into fear, you ground yourself in the present moment. This is emotional intelligence in action, the ability to feel deeply, but act wisely. Learning this control doesn't come overnight. It demands practice and patience. It asks you to become an observer of your inner world, to notice patterns, triggers, and habitual reactions. This self-awareness is the foundation of transformation. It gives you the power to interrupt destructive cycles and build new, healthier ways of dealing with stress and hardship.